And welcome to the Grand Prix Hangout of 2018. 3 races that we've missed this time: Germany, Hungary, and Belgium. So we're going to cover all 3 today, and I'm going to do the first one here, and Fabio will do the second, and then we'll both do the third. So the first one for me was Germany, and that can be summed up from "Get in there, Lewis, you beauty." And that's about it, really. Oh, and Vettel. What happened to Vettel? What happened to Vettel in Germany? Oh, yeah, that's it. He drove into another car that was in a barrier. That's what happened, isn't it? There was a barrier there, and Vettel literally came around the corner, thought it was Lewis Hamilton, and drove into it.
I mean, I don't remember anything of that. The only thing I remember of Germany was Hamilton, which decided that the lane that you get into the box can be taken, as many ways as you can. So
direction you want.
That's the only thing I remember.
Yeah, I mean, there's no map as to how to get to the circuit. Once you're on the circuit, that's when you got to pay attention.
Yeah, you can do whatever the fuck you want. That's what you mean. Yeah, right. Okay, yeah, I get it.
Yeah, as long as you get to the track, then the rules start applying.
I
mean, he was very unlucky in that race. Slight mistake. Could have happened to anybody. Could have happened to any 4 times world champion from Germany. Michael Schumacher might well have done the same thing in that situation. What do you think there, Fabio?
I think you're unnecessarily witty and sarcastic. I really don't get it. So I will not dignify you with an answer.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay, so that was one like uncommon mistake Vettel made that kind of turned things in the direction of Hamilton. Then we got to Hungary.
Yeah, we're Bottas. Well, basically Hungary was. I think that there is a very famous international schools for butler in Hungary and this is the school that Bottas attended to, because in Hungary, basically, Bottas was the butler of Hamilton. They just left him outside with trashy tires so that, Lewis could get an advantage. At the end of it, he tried all his best to keep Vettel on his back, and he couldn't because he sucks. And at the end of it, he also tried the same thing with Ricciardo, and he get to the point to actually crash into Ricciardo, which Ricciardo then overtook him on the last lap. So yes, it was basically the butler school, the European butler school that Bottas attended, and he qualified that for that reason. So that was Hungary. Yeah, you're muted. That's the best point you've ever made.
There is a reason for that.
Oh, okay.
It's because I was shouting at the TV and it, No, I mean, again, amazing race by Hamilton. Perfect driving once again, and really taking a big advantage in the championship. Most unexpected at the time, considering how good the Ferrari has been.
You just said 5 minutes ago you don't remember jack shit about Hungary, and then you say it was an amazing race. Why? I described it to you that basically the reason he won the race was because Bottas was his butler, and then you go and say it was an amazing race. I see where you're going with this, and again, I will not dignify you with an answer because you suck balls big time. But anyway, carry on.
Good, yeah. As you can see, I might be making some shit up right now because I'm actually doing something else in the background as we talk.
Yeah. Okay.
But there we are. Okay, so let me just post that. Well, you seamlessly cover for me.
Yeah.
As I'm doing other things.
And
no, I don't remember much about Hungary at all, except it was a very good race because Lewis extended his advantage in the championship.
Wow. Okay. Well, okay, but that, yeah, okay. I can see the criteria that you're using. Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. It's totally idiotic, but it makes sense from point of view.
Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, the point of view if you're retarded but yeah, I see that. And then we're back to Spa. I mean, finally a proper circuit. where we saw something really interesting in Spa. It was really, really, really interesting. Now, I'm going to ask you a question. What is the last time that you remember that the two contendants to the title actually there was an overtake on the track? When was the last time you remember something like that happened?
Oh dear.
Right?
I can't remember. I mean, there was Spa a few years ago.
It's really tough, right? Because that's exactly what happened in Spa.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was really peculiar and really funny and really cool in my mind.
I suppose so, but you know, I just thought, the Ferrari had such an advantage that, you know, I felt kind of sorry for Lewis in some ways. You know, because he had the one shot to stay behind Vettel once. And even then, even if he got past him, Vettel would have been past him on the next lap. So I've got to say, this is the first time in the season that I felt worried about Ferrari. That actually they do have the better car now. You've been saying it with quite a few races that they have a better car.
Well,
and I've been denying it, but I can see now why you've been saying it.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about Germany, that accident happened, and I think, you know, Sebastian is still kicking his balls because that was a very bad mistake and was all on him. And the good thing he is not shy of admitting that, which brings me to another point. The great thing about so far this year's Lewis season is that he has been maximizing the results. That's something which is that's the main reason why he's ahead in championship, because right now I don't think he hasn't got the best car. I think that the car are at best on the same level, and you might, you know, there might be some reasons why you would think Ferrari is better right now, but still, what Lewis has been able to do so far is he has been getting the maximum results every time, which is something that Sebastian has not done. So that's right now is the really, you know, it's the reason why the situation is like that, which makes for the championship to be really, really interesting.
Yeah, I would tend to agree. I mean, it's become absolutely clear to me because of the way Lewis's tyres went off, and once again the Ferrari preserved them. So
it's really funny with the tires because it seems to me that it's been something common from the beginning of the season so far, that the Mercedes have a really funny way where they use the tires. And I noticed the last races, but you know, going back, that wasn't the first time it happened. If you notice, when they get the covers, you know, the heated covers from the cars, usually in Mercedes, it might happen that they take the rear tire off first, they let it out, and then they take the front tires covers, which means that they have some problems in using all the tires in the same way properly, which is something that you don't see any other team doing that. So there is something with the way that Mercedes uses the tires. So yeah, there is that thing. The other thing I want to say, and I hope you will agree with me, and then we can start going back and forth, you know, with banter and love. There is one thing I don't like about Lewis, is that I think so far is a really poor loser. When he loses a race, when he has a problem, it's always, you know, somebody else, you know, well, they have a trick, or, you know, it's never his fault. And this, to me, I mean, I understand the guy. I understand he's competitive and all, but there is something with that really makes me, you know, really, come on, guy. I mean, you're making a very nice job. This is the dream job for you. Why you have to say things like that. So, but again, this is just my opinion. I don't expect you to agree. I mean, well, I don't want you to agree. You know,
well, I'm not going to agree. Obviously, I mean, I couldn't agree with that. Obviously, no. I mean, to some degree, yeah, you're right, because he's a world champion winner, and winners don't like to think they've done anything wrong. Of course, we all remember Michael Schumacher, and I don't think Lewis is as bad as Michael Schumacher when it comes to not accepting what the truth of the situation is. Michael was famous for completely denying any wrongdoing in any situation that he ever did.
Yeah.
And clearly, that couldn't be said to be the actual case. I mean, he cheated to how many world titles did Schumacher cheat to? Oh, well, it's disputable, but at least 2 that we can think of. So
I mean, no, I agree. I mean, it's not that I don't agree with you. It's just something that I wanted to say, and I think the main reason I said that is because you can say whatever the hell you want about Vettel, but when he loses, he usually, I mean, I can't remember him making excuses.
He just cries when he loses. That's what Vettel does.
Yeah, but he's not looking for excuses, if you see what I mean. It's not. I mean,
I agree with you. Yeah.
Again, I'm not looking. I'm just saying what I think is the case, and I'm not saying that is the case. I was just expressing what I saw. I think there is a difference between how the two guys react to to difficulties, and in Lewis' case, I think there is always that that thing like last year when he lost with Rosberg. I mean, and when he was trying to attack the guy, I don't know. I mean, there was some. I mean, the guy is a great champion. Nobody denies that. So behave like one. Leave something to remember. Like good sportsmanship. And sometimes it's my opinion. Again, it is only my opinion. I think he fails at that.
Yeah, I'm not so sure about that personally. I mean, I don't think there's any whiff of non-sportsmanship going on. But I do think, he is fragile to that emotional situation in the car. I also think that Vettel suffers from that, if not a little bit more than Lewis in some ways, because Vettel, like Schumacher, can't take it from behind. And by that, I mean, when he's out in front, he is a little bit susceptible to pressure when he's being closed down. But that's about the only thing. And, they both were 4 times world champions, for goodness sake. So, it's a pretty minor complaint, really. I think Lewis is less likely to make that mistake when he's being chased down, but then he's more likely to make a mistake when chasing down. That's my kind of thing. Lewis, he's not such a good chaser. But anyway, I mean,
there's been a lot of things which has happened while we were on hiatus, like the old Ricciardo thing, which was amazing. Wow. Yeah. I mean, I can tell you, I would have lost a huge amount of money because if you remember, before we just went on vacation or whatever, I would have bet money that Ricciardo was going to go to Ferrari. And I would have lost it, a lot of it, by the way.
Well, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have said Ferrari because, I think Ricciardo, and the reason he's obviously, to me, the reason he moved to Renault is he wants a #1 drive. He's tired of having this #2 stroke equal, in inverted commas. I mean, as equal, remember Mark Webber? He was equal with Vettel, apparently, right? According to Christian Horner. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
And that clearly wasn't the case. Mark Webber was the #2 driver. It was always clear, especially after Mark forced the issue at Silverstone with the wing. And I think Ricciardo was in the same situation, and he's listening to Mark Webber going, "Yeah, Christian says you're not the #2 driver. Christian says you're getting the same parts, but that isn't the case." You know what I mean?
And also there is the fact that, and by the way, I agree with you. I don't think he's been treated the same way as Verstappen. But there is also the thing that when a driver convinces himself that is not being treated the same way, there is literally nothing you can do. And in Ricciardo's case, I think he actually had some very good reasons why he was going to, he was right in thinking like that.
Yeah.
So I think he made the right move. I was quite surprised by the old Renault thing.
That's where they've chosen.
Yeah, but I think, overall, I think he made the right choice. Let's not forget that Red Bull next year, they're going to gamble on an engine which, it has been sucked consistently and is still sucking, which is going to be the Honda. I have no idea what kind of data Red Bull gets from Toro Rosso. But whatever the data they get, it must be something which doesn't happen on the track, because that engine keeps sucking. So I have no fucking idea what they're watching. What data they're looking at.
Sure. I mean, one of the things about the Red Bull engine, of course, that it was badged as a Tag Heuer. Yeah, and that actually means something. I mean, Red Bull take their engines right from the manufacturers. They disassemble them and then put them back together again under their own auspice, right?
It's not exactly like that. It's most the agreement that they had with Renault. Basically, Renault was making engine according to some specifications from Red Bull. Right. So it's not that they get the engine disassembled. The engine is born differently, from the factory Renault engine. But regardless, next year, really, they're betting on the Honda engine. It's kind of, best of luck to them, but I don't know.
I'm just guessing that they think they can get their own engineers in there to fix any problems that engine has. Re-engineer it to where they need it to be, at least as reliable as they need it to be. So, that would be my guess. Yeah. And because they've got that deal with Honda have said, yes, you can do this with our engines. We don't mind, having extra bits put on them or redesigned bits,
I don't know. I think Honda still they are in a pickle. I don't know if they're going to redesign the engine from scratch with new data from Toro Rosso.
They can't, can they? What? They can't redesign the whole engine.
Oh yeah, of course they can. It's next season. They can do whatever the fuck they want. Can have a new engine. They can redesign the engine from scratch. They have the power and the money and the people to do that if they want to.
Yeah, I suppose you're right. Yeah. Okay.
But again, I'm really puzzled, and I think that anybody in Ricciardo's mind, I think he made the right decision. So he wasn't comfortable with the team. The gamble with the new engine next year, it's a very big gamble. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if it's such a big gamble, firstly, but it's Red Bull we're talking about. And, it's obvious looking at the Renault and the other Renault powered cars that it's not the engine that makes the difference for Red Bull. It is the chassis. So,
okay, you're right.
They've got some expectation that they're going to outperform the engine anyway.
In a way, you're right, but unless the circuit is all downhill, you will need an engine to move the car up to the finish line.
Okay, yeah. So it's downhill only for Hondas, right?
Yeah. So
what do they call that kind of racing? Gravity racing.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
So you're basically saying the Honda is just one big bit of metal designed to get you downhill quickly.
I don't know what the fuck they put into that engine. It is a big. Well, if I say it's a big lump of metal, that's a fact. All the engines are a big lump of metal. Some of them they can also work, from start to finish.
Yes,
I'm not sure I can really say that about the Honda engine. That's what I'm saying. So yeah.
Yeah. Fair enough. So I think it's a great move for Daniel. Personally, I didn't like his situation where he was at Red Bull, especially with Verstappen having signed such a long contract.
Yep.
I am surprised that Renault chanced their arm on him, because it must have cost them a fortune to get him, which is undoubtedly the other reason.
Yeah, but it was an interesting. It was really interesting. Alonso going away, probably.
Also leaving, yeah.
Yeah, and probably what is the name of that the Polish driver?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, Kubica. Kubica is probably going to drive Williams. Talking about Williams, the guy which put a lot of money in Williams, bought Force India.
Lance Stroll.
Yeah. And it was really funny. I mean, the day he basically bought the team, they got very good position. So yeah,
absolutely. But that is Formula One all over. There isn't something behind that. I don't know. But what I liked was Stroll's comment when someone said, "So if your dad buys the team, do you think you'll be the driver next year?" And he goes, "Well, my dad's a very nice guy."
Yeah. Well, I mean, at least the guy is honest, I said, well, I gotta ask Dad if he makes me drive the cars. Yeah.
I laughed. I fucking love it. I love him now. I think that was brilliant.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that the guy is still racing, it's beyond me. But fuck it,
Yeah, I mean, he's done good. He's done good.
Yeah.
I mean, he's still learning, but he's done good. So I don't have too many problems. I'm disappointed because a local company to where I live was going to buy the Force India team.
Oh.
So the fact that this guy's jumped in to give his kid a drive is a bit disappointing. But nonetheless, there you go. It just, again, shows the politics of it.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, 6 months ago, it was somebody else lined up to buy it. They'd already put enough in place so they wouldn't have to go into administration. But yet, Sergio Perez is announced as a hero for getting them into administration so they can be bought out cheap.
Yes.
It doesn't make sense to me. Something's not quite right in there. There's some deep politics going on once again.
Well, I think that unless you got that much amount of money, those are the kind of things that they don't make sense to anybody. My brain just refuses to process all that kind of information. I mean, I lack the tools to understand the situation. I freely admit that. But it's amazing. It's really amazing.
Yeah, fair enough. So, somebody came forward with 30 million, ready to sort them out. So, like 6 months ago.
Yeah.
So they could have had this sorted out at the beginning of the year if they'd wanted, but clearly, they didn't want to take that offer. And there we go. So now we're going to get Stroll GP.
Yeah.
And I wonder how long that's going to last. I mean, let's think of other teams recently that have come and gone.
Well, I mean, the guy has a lot of money, so it's going to last a lot.
No, if you want to spend money quickly, get into Formula One, right?
Oh, yeah, of course. Or buy a boat.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. There's no way that he's got enough money to last in Formula One more than a few years.
Yeah.
So
no, you're right. So have you got any complaints about the tires? Because it seems to be you've been whining and minging about tires. So have you got any recent complaints about tires?
Yep, sure. Let me just play my little jingle. Here we are at Tire Corner. Our tires shit this year. Hi, yeah, this is Tire Corner. And I just want to say, what the fuck? Blistering tires at fucking Belgium? What the?
Now you're making shit up.
Well, no. I mean, Lewis blistered his rear tire in the first stint. So I don't know what the fuck that's about. Why? Well, I do know what it's about. Obviously, it's down to this new surface that they've put on. They've been doing the same thing that they did at Indianapolis all those years.
No. Listen, I'm gonna stop you right the fuck there, because you, as a British, you have no reasons or motives or whatever to talk about surfaces, because last Sunday granted you, there was a race in Spa. Do you know where they did not race and they were supposed to be racing?
Silverstone.
Yes, and do you know why?
I can't remember now.
Well, I can.
Oh yeah, new surface.
Because the surface sucks balls. It seems to be that there was a little bit of sprinkle of rain, not a massive amount, and the fucking circuit apparently it cannot rain. I mean, if a dog goes on Silverstone and pisses on the straight, they have to close the circuit because it cannot be drained. There is no way to that that rain is gonna drain from Silverstone circuit. So you can say whatever the fuck you want.
I will,
but you are not allowed to talk about surfaces as a British person.
Yes, I understand what you're saying that for. I think that's a very good point.
It is a massively good point.
It is, yeah, it is. And I do hate what's happened to surfaces. It's not just that track. It's not just Silverstone. Knock Hill's done the same thing. Indianapolis, I remember, did the same thing and it ruined the race there. So I don't know what they're doing, trying to change these surfaces to allow, I don't even know. I mean, the reason they did Silverstone is because they said it would be better for running in the rain, not worse.
Well, it's better if you have a fucking powerboat or, you're going to sail on the circuit. That's going to be better, but not racing or especially motorcycles. Anyway, let's go back to four wheels. Kimi Räikkönen, Jesus Christ, it was unlucky in Spa. Bloody hell.
I can't believe it. He should have had pole, right? He was the best on Friday. He was the best on Saturday. He just got so unlucky. And again, I mean, it was bad tactics by Ferrari, right? Not putting enough fuel in his car.
No, I agree with you. On the qualifying, it was bad tactics. They thought about doing something, and they got how do you say? The rain in the last 5 minutes really caught them by surprise.
Yeah.
They had a very different tactic, but yeah, I mean, it's not acceptable anyway. But what happened to him, in the race, I mean, fucking hell, that guy should really go, I don't know, to see an exorcist or something, because I mean, bad luck is really bad luck for the guy.
Well, he kind of was unlucky. I think it was Ricciardo that hit him, wasn't it?
No, Ricciardo hit him, but because Alonso's McLaren, while flying over Leclerc, Sauber, the McLaren basically hit the rear wing of Ricciardo, and he just piled into Räikkönen. So I mean, literally, Räikkönen had nothing to do with that.
Yeah, oh, for sure, it was nothing to do with it.
Yeah, and I mean, I think he was already laughing his ass off and saying, "Well, oh, look at those stupid people, crashing on the back of me," and then boom, fuck me, really.
Yeah. No, I liked two things. I mean, firstly, I thought Ricciardo was hit on the way into the corner, and he hit Bottas on the way out. He hit Raikkonen on the way out.
Yeah.
So that is a little bit poor for me. But the other thing I thought was really funny was that without a rear wing, Ricciardo set the fastest first sector.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, you know what? Fuck it.
Wow. He didn't even know. He just went through a rouge flat. You know what I mean?
Talking about fast sector, I think it was really interesting that the lap record has been set by an F1, and the previous lap record of the circuit was set by, I think, the Porsche 919 Special or something like that. It's basically a world endurance car, and it's a car which is basically built with no rules. They can do whatever the fuck they want.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. And regardless, even with, I think, something like easily 300 horsepower less than that car, the F1 were able, to actually beat the record. So it's a good, testament to how very good these cars are.
They are beasts. I mean, they are certainly beasts as far as Formula One cars go. And then that's a good thing. I do think it's difficult because we've gone from them trying to neuter the cars so we can get closer racing, and that really worked. Eventually, that worked, right? I mean, if you think back 2 seasons ago, how many overtakes we used to get in a race? Like 70, 80 overtakes. Now, admittedly, a lot of them were gimmicks, but we were getting a shitload of overtakes, and we've gone from that to suddenly back to the old cars where you couldn't follow closer than 2 seconds.
Yeah.
And that change is just too much. I mean, it's ruined it this year as far as I'm concerned.
No, but that's, well, it's, I mean, to be fair, it's better this year than last year. That's something, I mean, they did something in the right direction. You know, we've been talking about, you know, about that in previous episodes, you know, that they really should reduce the aerodynamic efficiency so that you can have very more, you know, interesting races. But you're right. Overall, you're right. I mean, if you think about this year, the only overtakes we saw were, you know, when Bottas was acting as a butler, and last Sunday when Vettel, you know, overtook Hamilton. So yeah, you're right.
Yeah, indeed. And you know, I'm a little disappointed in that. Again, I put it down to you know, tires more than I put it down to the aerodynamics. But I'm really glad that is it 2019 we're getting simplified front wings, or is that 2020?
I don't know. I don't know about that.
Oh, okay. I think it might be next year. But they've said that they're going to reduce the number of details on the front wing.
Oh,
especially the end plates.
That's really good. Oh, talking about wings, I don't know. I'm going to ask you: has there been any conversation in the UK about the rear wing of the Mercedes?
No, not that I'm aware.
Because there was an interesting report on TV around here, and they showed and I'm sure people can watch on YouTube. There's some videos around there. It seems to me that the rear wing of the Mercedes, it's way more flexible than any other car on the circuit right now. They made a comparison coming out, I think, from the bus stop. Where, you know, it's very low, but there is a bump, so, you know, the wing really moves a lot.
Right.
And the Mercedes one, it is really going all over the fucking place. And they compare that, you know, to Ferrari, Red Bull, Haas, Sauber, you know, any other car you can pick. It's not moving that much. So I think there's going to be you know, some investigation by the FIA about that stuff, because the rules right now, they say that the rear plane cannot move more than 5 millimeters if you apply 500 Newton, which is about 51 kilograms on the wing. And it's really, but you know, the difference was really, I mean, it was really visible. So I was just wondering if something like that was being talked in the UK.
No, I personally haven't heard anything about that. I haven't been looking especially for it, I have to say. So
yeah,
you know, that's
I mean, I'm just saying, keep an eye for that kind of news, because it might be lead to something. I don't know what. You know, they'll probably ask Mercedes, you know, to redo the you know, the strut where the rear wing is attached, but it was really, well, I wouldn't say fishy, but it was strange. But it was different.
Well, it was definitely looked on Sunday like Mercedes were running more rear wing than anybody else. So that was suspicious in that respect. I thought they'd done it. Although no, I mean, you know, their middle sector was the fastest sector compared to the Ferrari, so it made sense that they had more downforce, right?
Well, you know, no, the thing with the fact that you have a flexible wing, a wing which is, you know, let's assume, but for example, that you have a car which has a rear wing which is more flexible. The advantage it gives to you is that with high speed, basically what happens is that the wing, you know, goes down, so it modifies, you know, the downforce. It gets less downforce without actually moving any panel of the wing. So that's the thing which has been.
If that was the case, you would expect them to be fast in sectors 1 and 3, and the Ferrari was a lot faster than the Mercedes in those sectors. And so,
yeah, I mean, but that's assuming that they've got the same powertrain and the same efficiency. So, yeah, I mean, I understand what you say. I mean, but the real comparison, I understand, you know, what you're saying, and I agree with you. But the real comparison should be made with the same car, you know, flexible wing or no flexible wing. You know, in that case, there are other aspects which might get into that. So it's only, but you know, yeah, I just told you because, you know,
yeah, I'll keep an eye out for it for sure. I have to check into that if they're running a flexible wing. It's a big no-no in Formula One these days. Yeah. Ever since Red Bull used to do it.
Oh yes, absolutely.
But the other reason, of course, is that, you know, Mercedes do have tire problems, and so they are going to go for higher downforces, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what you would expect.
But it's really funny with Mercedes. You know, as I told you before, that's something I noticed. It seems to me that the tire problem of Mercedes are not how can I say, it's the balance by which they use tires, which is weird. And I think that, I mean, they're trying everything in their power. I mean, when you get to a point that you get, you know, the heating covers on the rear before, you know, the one on the front. I mean, let's keep in mind that nothing happens by chance in F1.
Yeah.
So if that's a procedure, it is a procedure because they're trying to solve a problem or they're trying to take advantage of something.
And it's a big problem if they're taking the tires off to get them to a lower temperature.
Yeah,
that's going to take longer to warm up. Well, that's quite serious because you're sacrificing immediate performance.
Yeah.
So, and in the hopes, presumably, to give lasting performance later on.
I mean, the results of the fact
that's a terrible way to run a fucking F1 car.
Yeah. I mean, the results of the fact that Lewis generally sucks at, you know, starting the car from the get-go. I mean,
yeah, good point. He's never been the fastest of starters, that's for sure, but he's kind of been on it this year, so that's kind of weird. Okay, so yeah, I mean, I think we've kind of done that. I mean, I think in terms of the championship, you know, Lewis is still in a good place because he's got the points on the board. The next two races are going to be just scary as shit for me because, of course, Monza, well, you know, it's Monza, for goodness sake. There is a good chance that Mercedes can at least equal the Ferrari at this track, but yeah.
It is going to be different from last year. I mean, last year when Ferrari went to Monza, they had no reasonable expectation to have a good result. Because, you know, if you remember last year, you know, the cars were so different, you know, the Ferrari being shorter and, you know, the Mercedes being, you know, way longer. So Ferrari had no reasonable expectation.
Hang on a minute. You said way longer there. Well, if you remember back 9 months ago to our podcast, you said it was only a tiny bit longer than the Ferrari. Anyway.
This year car. It's not that much longer. But I'm talking about last year.
Yeah, last year there wasn't that much difference between the two.
Well, no, last year I mean there was a significant difference, mostly because Ferrari was shorter than this year.
I think you said it was like 2.5 centimeters or something.
How much?
2.5 centimeters.
Well, I mean 2.5 centimeters. It's like 300 miles.
I'm teasing you bollocks, really.
Yeah. I'm not pretty sure it was 2.5 centimeters.
When I made that point a year ago, you said, no, it's not much different. Anyway, you're right. You are right.
I know I'm right. You suck. I know I'm right. And you can't do... I mean, listen, you know, the moment that you're going to be able to make a proper surface on Silverstone, you can tell me about shit, okay? So, fuck you guys. So, anyway.
I love Silverstone.
Silverstone is brilliant. That's why I want to kill the guys. I want to kill the guys which are on the circuit. I want to personally get on a plane and punch all of them in the fucking face.
Yes.
Right?
And it's not just Silverstone. They're doing it to a lot of circuits around the world. It's not...
Listen, I'm getting on a plane tomorrow, and I will start from Silverstone. If you want to meet me in Silverstone and bring me to other circuits, I will happily do that. First step is go to Silverstone and gonna punch people in the face, and then we can go to other circuits. I'm happy to oblige, but that's something I have to do. Anyway,
wait till that happens in Monza. I tell you, then you'll get.
Yeah. I mean, there is a difference between last year. As I said, last year Ferrari had no expectation, but this year it's a little bit different because the car has been shown to be fast on fast circuits. So, and it is true, there are 17 points and 8 races, which is not that much.
It's nothing really. I mean, it's 2 races in second place and Vettel winning is enough to make it, the winner takes all. But hey, it's going to be a good year for that reason. I hope Mercedes continue. I hope Lewis continues to score points, because otherwise it's going to be a runaway for Vettel, and I really don't want it to be a runaway. But of course, I'm biased. I just think Monza's going to be amazing. I mean, Hamilton's always fast at Monza, so I think whatever happens, we're going to get a closer race. My big worry again is tyres. It's going to come down to this. If Lewis can't push on his tyres because he's just going to rip them apart, then it's damage limitation till the end of the season, and that would be boring.
It's not the tyres' fault if that car cannot work with those tyres, because everybody else can and they can't. Yeah. And I mean, it's not a critique, to Mercedes specifically. I totally understand that. You make a vehicle, be it a motorcycle or a racing car, which is always on the edge, and sometimes you just go a little bit far from the edge to gain an advantage. Sometimes it pays off, and sometimes it doesn't. It seems to be that this year they bite more than they can chew. So yeah, there is that. But again, I understand that the tires are a problem, but I think, on a serious note, it is important to understand that the tires are a problem for Mercedes right now.
Yeah, I agree. It is a big problem. I don't think it's just for Mercedes either. I think a lot of the teams are having issues with trying to dial these tires in, and I think that's sort of borne out by the fact that Pirelli were asked to change the specs of the tires halfway through the season. So.
Yeah, which, by the way, if you remember, Pirelli was asked to change the spec of the tires in order to favor some teams, and one of them was Mercedes. So, I mean, again, on a serious note, I understand what you say, but I think it would be unfair at the end of the season, to blame the tires for whatever the result is going to be, okay? Because we are here for the sport. We like people going fast. I don't like when drivers talk. I like when they drive, mostly because the helmet is closed down. You can't fucking hear what the fuck they're saying. And I love it because they're a bunch of retards, all of them. There is, yeah.
Sure. Yeah. I slightly disagree again. I do think that, I don't know. I just think that no, I've got no complaints about it. I mean, whatever the championship comes, the championship comes. And it's worked in Mercedes' favour, where working the tyres hard has been to their advantage, because it's been hard to get heat into the tyres and they've taken ages to heat up. So eventually then that has given Mercedes some benefit. But I just think, I don't know. I just think it's a bit of a shame in that respect that the tyres aren't durable enough or fragile enough. They're in between.
Oh, but that's something. I mean, no, I understand, but that's something which, okay, I think there is 2 lines of discussion here. There is one line of discussion that we talked about before, that the range where those tires work is too narrow. That has been a problem for years, but that has always been a problem, and that's a good point. I mean, they should make tires which are way more different, from a set to another. I get it, and I agree with you. I agree with you.
Yeah.
The thing I do not agree with you is, when and I'm not saying you do that, because, besides the banter and jokes, you're smarter than that. I do not agree when people, blame the tires for Mercedes performances, because that's another problem. That's the way the car is built, and
but
sometimes,
that's the issue. That's the issue. Yes, that's the way the car's built. I'm granting all of that. And at the end of the year, if Ferrari win because they managed to deal with the tire problems better than anybody else, that's their kudos, and that's great. Right. But my point being is, no manufacturer can tell you what tires are going to be there next year. They're just blindly guessing, right? When they design their chassis, right, they're guessing as to how much they want to use their tires up.
Actually, that's partially true, because at the end of the season, the specification for the tires are already there, and they give the specification to the teams. So that's
not when they start designing their chassis. And secondly, even at the beginning of the year, we're still not normally sure exactly what tires are going to be brought to the first place.
But I agree with you. But keep in mind, it's a little bit different. I understand your point, but it is a little bit different. The way that the tires are built, it's not an isolated process. And again, yeah, I mean the time Pirelli has been given.
It tested at the end of last year, right?
No. I agree with you. No, the testing, you're right. What I'm saying is that during the year there are discussions between Pirelli and the teams on how all the teams, what
the rest of the teams as well. But yeah, carry on. I'm being facetious.
Oh, sorry. Come on, Ray. I mean, you want to go there, really?
No. It's not like it was like 1998 or anything. No, carry on.
Jesus Christ.
Carry on. Sorry, I didn't mean to stop you mid-flow there.
No, I mean, you can stop me, but you got to wave a flag when you're going to be unnecessarily vicious, because if I'm trying to say something serious, I mean, I'm in the mood. If I'm trying to but on a serious note, the process, and I know the process from I'm fairly sure it's the same one for F1. I know a little bit about the process with the motorcycles. Mm-hmm. The manufacturer, they give specifics to the teams as best as they could during the year, and they will tell you, okay, this is how the new tire is going to be. This is how rigid it's going to be. These are going to be the temperature range and all that stuff. And that's the reason why every team, when they go on the circuit, they have data from previous year that they adapt to the characteristics of the tires. Mm-hmm. They're working on old data with new characteristics that they already know. So, and I mean, this is the kind of process which usually happens, and that's the same process for everybody.
Yeah.
And again, it gets to the point, it's like Red Bull. Red Bull as being, the car which is usually being pointed out to be the more extreme aerodynamically, or on the frame point of view. And sometimes you take a gamble because you think that's a good direction, and it doesn't work with that. So, but the data is the same for everybody. That as much, I'm really positive I can say that.
Mm. Right. Oh, it seems weird to me then that there's such a discrepancy between the top teams designing chassis for these tires, and then that's where I get confused. I mean, why? I've never seen what happened to Hamilton. I've never seen before.
Yeah, but it's because everybody's trying to find an edge. So yeah, you know what the razor edge is, and you try. I mean, sometimes it's a gamble. Sometimes it pays off, and sometimes it doesn't. And to be fair, what happened last year with Mercedes? I mean, Mercedes was in a very good situation because their car was so much better than any other car that they didn't need to take any gambles, basically.
Yeah.
This year is a little bit different. This year they got a car which is really close to them, so they have to push in some areas, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It's the same thing with everybody. So,
but likewise with the high downforce setting for Spa, I mean, that just didn't work for them.
Right, right. And it also depends on what kind of team you are. I mean, think about Force India. Force India has made a car which is amazingly fast on the straight. They can't take a corner if it kills them, you know? But they made a gamble. They say, you know what, fuck it. It's like, what was last year, Williams. Very fast on the straight. The moment it gets to a corner, fuck it. I can't do that. And you take gambles because you know you're weak. So you say, you know what, that's an aspect I can be fast, and I'm going to take a gamble on that, and we'll see what the fuck happens.
No, you're absolutely right. It's also cheaper to say, right, we're not going to have to develop aero this year because we're just going to go low drag. So, but of course, when these regulations especially don't favour that, when you have lots of restrictions on aero, then obviously that's the year you want to build a super fast car in a straight line.
Yes. No, I agree.
Restrictions on aero, then just pile it on.
No, I agree with you. I agree with you. I'm really pissed at the major aspect that aerodynamics have on those cars. And I mean, I understand that's the reason why they go so fast, because they go so fast in the corner. But there must be something they can do.
Well, hopefully reducing the front wing design will standardizing the end wing design. Hopefully that will make some difference anyway.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that Red Bull will get around it because they always do. Yeah. But there you go. Okay, so anyway. It's been a while, so that's good. Is there anything else? There's a few things we should really discuss, like junior drivers, perhaps. Leclerc didn't get the Ferrari drive, which I predicted, of course.
Well, no, not so far. I don't think he's going to get it. We still don't know what the fuck is going to happen with Kimi. He probably signed, but we still don't know. So
yeah, that's fair. We still don't know. I have a feeling he will be signed because
I think so. Yeah,
was pretty positive, saying no, I'm not looking to leave yet. So if that's the case,
I think Leclerc might go to us. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, was that the one that I heard?
So what?
Yes. I guess, yeah. No, I was just wondering if that was the rumor that I heard, that he was going to go to the other Ferrari team.
Yeah.
I somehow think he'll stay at Sauber, to be honest with you.
I don't know. I mean, we'll see. The guy is fast. It's been really unlucky the last races because in I think it was Germany or Hungary that he had a problem, and we know what happened in Spa.
He was taken out.
Yeah, but the guy is fast. There is no.
He looks fast. I'm not sure he looks as fast as Ocon also is very fast. There's a whole series of young drivers that all look that fast. Van Dorn in his first year looked that fast, didn't he?
Yeah, fair enough.
So there's a long way to go yet. Whether he can keep up that kind of consistency or not, we'll have to see. But I wish him well. I mean, it would be really nice to have a Ferrari driver in a Ferrari like in the old days with, Alesi. I miss Alesi a hell of a lot because he had so much passion. So he loved the Ferrari so much. It was, you could stick a microphone in front of him and say, "So the Ferrari's crashed into everybody," and he'd go, "Oh no, the track crashed into the Ferrari."
Yeah. No, yeah. I mean, Alesi was it was a fan before being a driver, and it was a fast driver, so it was really fun to watch. But yeah, it was really cool. Yeah.
Also, Villeneuve, the first Villeneuve.
Yeah. But anyway, let's say hi to everybody because I'm really tired.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much. Sorry we've missed you all. Sorry it's been so long, and we'll be back on track hopefully now once a week.
Yeah.
And, thank you so much. Is there anything else you'd like to finish with?
No. Well, besides, Monza is going to be really exciting. Not too much.
Can't wait for Monza. One of the special races of the year. So
yes.
It'll be really good. Okay, so great. Thank you, everybody, and say ciao.
Ciao, ciao.